Hello, everybody, and welcome back to what is normally Soldiers of the Lich Queen. How's it going? How's it going, all? How are you doing? Been 2 weeks. Missed you. So, as you might notice, as you might have heard, we are down a player. Lindsay's not. Lindsay's feeling under the weather today. So we are instead, because I tend to. This is a very, very, tight-knit group. It's hard to catch people up if they miss stuff. So instead of playing with a player down, we'll do a one shot. So this week we are doing a one shot, which I'll explain in a minute once we get into it. We have everybody playing some new 10th level characters, so we're jumping up in level quite a bit. I'll need to adjust to DMing for that, but that's a me problem. Before we get started, Justin, any channel announcements?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
If you applied for our Forgotten Realms campaign, Hearts of Madness, you should be getting a message in the next couple days about the next step in the audition process. That's about it. And we have a podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where you can also listen to Demystifying DMing. And speaking of Demystifying DMing...
Oh, is that to me?
Yes.
So speaking of Demystifying DMing, Justin and I are going to be recording the very first DM Spotlight interview today, right after this session. So that is when that will be happening. When it gets posted, it kind of depends on some internal factors of just shuffling it back, getting the audio files and shuffling it back and forth to the right people and adding the right editing. So it should be up fairly soon. And you can hear us talk, or hear me and Justin talk about his DMing style, his DMing, how he got into it, and kind of just like what that process looks like for him. And if you know a DM that you think is really great and should get interviewed by me about their DMing, let me know. Talk to me in Discord, and we can work something out, and we can schedule a time, because I would love to interview more people.
Matt Mercer.
Yeah. No, does everyone spam, after one episode, everyone just spam Matt Mercer, and we'll just have him be the second episode. And then that would be great.
And just never do it again, because how can you ever?
No, what are you talking about? We would have so many people then be like, well, I want to be interviewed on the show, interviewed Matt Mercer. Like I would just be doing interviews forever. I would never have to record an actual podcast episode ever again.
Exactly.
Oh, that's big brain. Okay.
That slaps, whatever the kids say nowadays.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
You're so hip.
I love you, but that hurt.
Don't even know what it means.
We can tell. Okay, so with that, is there anything else before we jump into it?
Nope.
Okay. Then here we go. So, that's not it. Where did I put? Oh, right. There we go. So this one shot that we're doing is a little hop back in time. We're going to roll back the clock to reference one of my favorite 90s movies.
Back to the Future?
No, that's an 80s movie. Oh, We're Back, Dinosaur Story, the one where a bunch of cartoon dinosaurs end up in modern day New York and dance through the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
It's a great movie.
It really is.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's so good.
Got nothing.
It's so good. I think John Goodman voices the T-Rex. It's
I don't know
fantastic.
who that is, but okay, continue.
Okay. So we're rolling back the clock about 15 years prior to the campaign and leaping across the ocean to a different continent entirely, into a region known as the Imperial Remnant. So this is a region that was a century before this occupied by an empire that was trying to unify the continent and failed miserably. They were a thing for a couple of years, maybe. They made some progress, did some damage, but ultimately just kind of fell apart at the seams. This region represents their original kind of core territory. And it is now kind of shattered into a series of very, very small petty kingdoms. That's a generous term. They're pretty much just a castle and a handful of villages, and then just a bunch of people who've been constantly fighting over this region forever. And just new people pop up all the time. So it's not even been consistent. It's just kind of been anyone that can grab a castle and get people to follow them and do it they say suddenly they're in charge of some people and they're fighting. So for the last century, this conflict was known as the Hydra's Crown War, named after the fact that just the constantly changing, the idea that as soon as one fell, two more would rise to take their place. However, from the south, a sudden tide of goblin troops surged forward and started conquering and kind of ended this conflict. At which point, during that process, their ranks began to get filled also with gnolls that were popping out of nowhere. And then more recently, an ancient hobgoblin warlord who historically dedicated himself to Yinoku, the god of gnolls, and made himself into like a horrible like gnoll hobgoblin hybrid, was recently resurrected by this goblin army to lead them and revealed to be their ultimate like actual goal as this conquering warlord from the ancient world known as Gatha the Unyielding took the helm of this army and began conquering this region. So it's gone from being a region of constant conflict to a region of constant conflict against one unifying enemy that everyone is kind of trying to hang on against and survive. So where that leaves us is that basically half the region has been conquered. And one of the people in charge, known as the Silver Princess, one of the most capable and just generally successful people in the region, who actually runs 2 territories after her father was killed, and then she summarily conquered the lands of the one who killed her father. She has sent out a call for adventurers, basically being like, hey, there are hobgoblins and goblins and goblinoids and gnolls everywhere running rampant, and we need some help. So she sent out a call to come to her stronghold known as the Silver Citadel, and that is where the 3 of these people are going to be coming into play. So let's get started with that. So each of you find your way walking along a riverbank, and what you see ahead of you is a very, very large, pretty much freshly built citadel straddling the river. It's built on either side of the riverbank, and in a feat of engineering is actually built like almost a low archway spanning across the river with pillars running between it, so that the water can actually run pretty much right up underneath it. There's not really a lot of space. It almost becomes an underground river with how close to the water level the castle is built. It's a massive structure with tall spire-like towers jetting up into the sky. Unlike most castles that have like a castle town built around them, because this one is built so recently and so fresh, it's doesn't have a lot of civilization around it. It's kind of just a couple of like 2 roads from either side come up and meet it, where there basically once was a bridge. There's now just a massive castle. This was built because this is the river that borders the 2 territories that the Silver Princess governs, and she wanted to build herself a new capital right in between them so that she could be equally able to rule over them. So as you're all walking along the road, who are the individuals walking towards this place? What do they look like, and what are they doing as they travel? Oh boy.
Hello.
What?
I'm over for this.
Reed is a gold Warforged with a massive set of bagpipes making up his entire torso. He wears a top hat with a set of goggles strapped into it and almost what you could describe as a shabby magician's outfit. He also wears a far too large black bow tie and usually walks around with a cane that contains his rapier, and he is playing the bagpipes as he walks.
Oh boy. This is what happens when Justin has the ability to play sound into the stream. Whew. All right, so we got that. Anybody else want to follow that?
I don't know how we could.
Nope, never mind. Everybody go home. End of stream. We're
Yeah,
done.
this was so much fun. But my Uber's actually here, so I've gotta.
I left my
jet.
oven on. Sorry.
So yeah, then there's also just like a regular schmegular human man just walking about with like a giant great axe strapped to his back and like a tiger pelt wrapped around his waist, and he's just like vibing, you know. He's just like, he's here, he's a little dirty, but like just it looks kind of dopey.
Okay. And last but not least,
Following the regular old human man is a regular old human girl who's wearing essentially scientist, but make it fashion. You know, like a nice little black dress, like nice tea-length 3/4 sleeves, and a lab coat, and just big old glasses.
okay. So a robot, a scientist, and Craven the Hunter walk into a bar.
Excellent.
All right. So all of you are walking along, and all of you would notice each other. None of you are subtle people. You've got lab coat, tiger pelt, and bagpipe robot, who's probably the first one that everyone notices, including bagpipe robot. Like bagpipe robot is distracted by himself despite his 20 passive perception. He's constantly aware of all of your surroundings at all times.
Where are we going?
Well, I don't know. There's just this flyer that I saw, so I like was like, why not? You know?
That's excellent.
Sup? The name's Mark.
Hello, I am Reed.
Nice to meet you, Reed.
No, it's just Reed.
Cool.
What is your name?
My name? Hi, I'm Brooke-Lynnn.
Sup?
Every time.
How do you spell it?
It's BROOKE-LYNNN.
Dope.
It really is.
Error.
Is he like broken?
I don't know.
He's not with you.
No.
That's unfortunate.
All right. So you're all walking along the road. Boy.
How badly do you want to TPK us?
Well, we'll see how it goes. I wasn't thinking about it before, but it's always an option, especially in a one shot.
It's just you don't give us like less than an hour to make it.
Hey, you know what? We should work on that. We should probably have a standing rule, just like everyone have a bank of characters ready to go. That was when we have this policy of doing impromptu one shots, we should probably also just plan for that.
Technically,
Yeah.
This character was made up last night for me as a tweet really late at night.
Oh, okay. So, lesson learned for next time. We're going to roll with it, and the audience is going to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
you knew what you were signing up for, folks. If you didn't, this is Mimics and Monstrosities.
Yeah.
Hey, we're the
here to
disaster
vibe.
siblings.
No, the disaster siblings are all like 5 years old at this point.
Shall I play music for our walk?
Please don't.
That's
Oh.
okay.
Okay, you said please.
is so loud.
Can you be a little quieter?
Okay.
Oh boy. I mean, I love bagpipes, so this is just perfect for me, but okay. So, as you're walking along, you can see that the gates to the Citadel, there's basically two sets of gates, one on either side of the river. You can only see one as you're coming out from one side of the river. The gates are standing open, and like it looks like they opened and there's like someone waiting for you that could hear the shrieking sound of bagpipes echoing down the road for like probably half a mile, because that is a very unmistakable sound.
Yeah.
So as you all approach, you can see that there is a very tired looking older gentleman whose hairline is receded back to about here, with a long hook nose, wearing what was probably at one time very nice clothing. It's still nice clothing, but you can tell that there's like a sense of shabbiness to it. He's wearing like, a doublet, kind of like one of those vest things, but his shirt is like poking out from underneath it, like not quite tucked in all the way. And there's a general sense of rumpled and wrinkledness to him, of the kind of person who probably normally spends a lot of time on his appearance, but just lately has not had the time, given that this entire region has been torn apart by way more warfare than is normal. Like there's a normal level of warfare, but then we're like magnitudes beyond that. Probably makes sense. And then he is flanked on either side by several clearly armored guards, standing in gleaming metal armor with helmets that kind of peak down, almost like in the shape of like an owl's. Like it evokes the image of like an owl's face with how it kind of curves around and then down, and then like a large purple feather off the top of their helmet, all standing there with spears and shields. And he's just kind of waiting patiently for you all to approach.
Sup, Grandpa?
Hello.
I'm Mark. I'm responding to the flyer.
I see. Yes, I was assuming. Something about your demeanor did indicate to me that you were perhaps the kind of people we were looking for.
Excellent.
Sure.
Yeah.
As you must understand, this is quite the dire situation, so forgive me if I'm brief, but I would prefer we get things underway as quickly as possible.
I used to be in a band called Dire Wolf.
Fascinating. Please come this way.
Okay.
And he turns and begins walking you inside. You can see that the courtyard in here, this is where you can see a bit more of a castle town type area, but there are buildings and things set up like kind of like an outer ring, and then there's an inner ring where there's more of like the actual castle itself. You can tell though that everything has been still recently constructed. Like the ground, there's mostly just like packed down dirt all over the place. And the buildings all look very fresh, and some of them are like empty. They have not actually been built full, or they haven't been like occupied fully yet, but you can also just see a bunch of like crates and stuff around, probably refugees and people fleeing the outer edges of the territory for fear of the war coming closer to them. And he basically leads you over to pretty much a gatehouse right on the outer wall, not even really taking you further inside, where you can see that he has fairly large table laid out with a basic rudimentary map of the region pinned down or weighted down on the table. And he says, well, thank you all for coming. Given the serendipity of your arriving together, am I to understand you're all with each other, or was there just did you just meet on the road?
Dude, I don't know. I'm responding to the flyer. I'm just vibing. Like, I'm here. I made it. Like, what's up?
I don't know either of them, to be honest.
Right. All right. Well, are you adverse to working together? I believe that strength in numbers, but is useful. But I understand that some of your ilk tend to work alone.
You can't spell fun without F, and F is in friends.
I suppose that's true. Well, anyway.
I was built to rock.
Wonderful. Anyway, there is a pressing matter to the north. One of our neighboring territories, a woman who has earned the ghastly title of the Bloody Duchess. Her territory is currently under siege, and while historically her and Her Majesty the Princess have not gotten along, it would be detrimental if our northern neighbor were to be conquered, because that would bring the enemy one step closer to our borders. So, the princess has deemed it necessary to aid this, well, neighbor of ours. Is this something that would work for you?
Sounds dope, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he lays out the map, and you can see basically the road out of. You guys all came from the south. The road through the citadel and then up to the kind of northeast leads in the direction of where you'd be going in. He says the territory itself is sporadically occupied by goblin and other enemy forces, so you'll have to be careful. Given that you are just 3 individuals, but capable ones, I assume, I believe what we have determined is your best course of action would be to get as close as possible as you can and find and eliminate the enemy commander commanding the siege. This would create enough chaos and disarray within their ranks in order to buy some time at the very least. It would be the most efficient use of your efforts.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Well, of course, there's the matter of payment. The Silver Princess is not named after silver for nothing. She's quite wealthy, and you will be compensated handsomely for your efforts.
Dope.
I dare say that you will be provided with a wagon that will be necessary for carrying the chests of coin provided in exchange for this service, and others if you survive and would like further employment.
Is
Great.
there a venue I could play my music?
A venue? Yeah, you mean after you help?
Yes.
Well, if you're a musician, I suppose I could put in a good word and gain you an audience with the princess herself to perform, perhaps at a feast or something of the like.
Excellent. I will refrain from using my music that melts brains.
I'm not sure if that was metaphorical or not, and I'm not sure. I want to know.
No.
Well, is there anything else you need from me before I send you on your way?
I don't know.
All right. He leans down and points at the map and kind of outlines some things for you. He says, the castle itself is here along the road. It's known as Sava Castle. There are a few other villages scattered about. As you come up the road, come up the southern road, there'll be a village to the west and a village to the east. And there's also one along the road beyond the castle as well. Should you need supplies or anything like that, should this be useful to you, that's where you can find civilization, although I'm not sure how much of it is currently overrun by the enemy, so you will have to do your best to assess when you arrive. We'll also pay handsomely for any information you can provide about enemy movements and any capabilities or anything interesting, anything that may be useful. We'll pay you well for.
Great.
All right. Thank you very much for your service, and I believe we can spare some horses for you to send you on your way.
That would be wondrous.
Excellent. If you'll just meet, if you'll just continue down this path outside to the other side across the river, you'll find the eastern gate. At which point, our stable master should have three horses prepared for you to speed you on your journey.
Excellent.
All right.
I don't need one.
You don't?
No.
I see. Well, you'll have to let the stable master know that, but I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Good day. And he's going to nod and then leave, and the the guards follow after, leaving you to your devices.
Hey, so like, what are we doing? What do we just get hired for?
To go do some things.
Okay. Cool. Well, I've got the map memorized, so let's go.
Okay.
Let's go get some horses.
Does Mark have the feat that lets you memorize things?
No, but he's not that smart, but he is an outlander.
Oh, okay.
So he's just kind of good with maps.
Got it. Right. Okay. So you all can progress through, and you can see, a fairly safe-looking, a little bedraggled population, but for the most part, this appears to be a place that is very well insulated from the conflict, and for the most part, people seem to be going about their day with little attention to the things to the warfare going on around them. It looks like the war has not managed to touch this place yet. This is probably the safest place in the region at the moment. And as you continue onward, you eventually see a dwarf standing beside three horses. He's got long, like, sideburns that come like most of the way down his jaw, like they stop at the corner of his mouth, and they are like come out to about here, just sticking straight out down at an angle. And his hair is pulled back into a very tight, neat bun as he like moves around and like hucks a saddle up over on top of one of the horses, and starts like buckling it together.
No need to do so much work for one of the horses. I can provide my own.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about, metal man?
I can provide my own mode of transportation.
All right, well, here's two, and he just like grabs the reins of one of the horses and starts leading off. He's like, all right, those are yours. Don't get them killed. Bring them back. Raise them from foals myself.
Dope.
I want the pretty one.
They're both pretty.
Yes, you see a dappled gray horse and a brown and white paint horse, and the one he is leading away is a much darker solid brown.
I want the gray one.
All yours.
Thanks.
Get on the other horse.
Okay.
I need a minute. Hold on. And I start playing my bagpipes.
Okay.
And after a minute, some magic and like ether starts to coalesce out of the bagpipes.
Mm-hmm.
And I cast Phantom Steed.
Okay.
And the steed forms into a horse-sized velociraptor. And I climb aboard.
Okay, so like this kind of translucent, glowing, wispy blue dinosaur just coalesces into being right here, and like people at a distance kind of like take a half step back as they see that. But yeah, you can hop on board, and it just stands obediently, waiting for your commands.
Let us ride.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So y'all head out the gate and begin traveling northward along the road.
Oh man.
We do that, huh?
All right.
Brooke-Lynnn is side saddling it because
Of
she's
course
a
she is.
fucking lady.
Shall
All
I
right.
play music for the road?
Please no.
Okay, I
think
will not.
we need to be quiet so they don't know we're coming. Shh.
Hey, Brooke-Lynnn,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Science.
Progress.
I am a scientist and I do science.
Great. That sounds really helpful.
It does, you know, like you can mix different things and they make like a ball of fire, you know?
Great.
Like chemical reactions and all that.
Yeah, awesome.
What do you do?
I hit things really hard with my axe.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Pipe, what's your name?
Read.
Yeah, what do you do other than bagpipes?
I melt brains with my bagpipes.
How do you do that?
If I would show you, you would melt.
You can use your words. Like,
I am
words are all.
using my words.
Is it like with science or?
No.
I don't like him. He doesn't explain things.
I was made to rock.
Dope.
Yeah, you said that already.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you begin. You're riding along the road. It takes you a little while. Mark would be aware that after looking at the map and memorizing it and getting a sense of scale, that it's going to be maybe a couple hours before you reach
Shit.
the border. What?
Fantasy lasts for an hour.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a couple hours before you reach the border, and then like a little bit further before you get to the castle itself. Yeah.
So, just to, because I'm reading this now a little more. Apparently, the mount has a speed of 100 feet, and it can travel 10 miles in an hour.
Wow.
What's up, party?
There's two little legs, or two big dinosaur legs. Just the Velociraptor puts his little arms behind him and just Naruto runs.
And I hate that. I hate that.
It's like pitched forward, so like Reed is like hanging on, like facing the ground. We're riding it backwards, like just hanging onto the tail.
Yeah.
All right. So y'all riding along for a while. Is Reed then like zooming ahead of everybody, or?
He'll keep up.
Okay. All right. So then, are you going to be recasting Phantom Steed every hour?
As soon as the steed starts to fade away, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Say it's like a 4-hour ride total to get to the border. So it's going to take 4 Phantom Steeds to get you like into the territory.
Cool.
Okay. And as you are riding along, Reed, you would be the first one to notice. At a pretty good distance, because of that passive perception of yours, you notice what appears to be some sort of very narrow structure at a distance. Just on the inside of the Bloody Duchess's territory. kind of set up just a little bit of ways off the side of the road.
Okay.
Like it very narrow, like tall and spindly, and probably made of wood. Like almost looks like a temporary structure, but maybe like 60 feet tall.
I see a structure up ahead.
Dope. How tall is it?
It has dimensions.
Dope.
What's it made out of?
It looks like spindly wood.
Dope.
Fire? Are we burning it down?
You're like maybe a mile or two out from it at this point. Like
I don't think so.
Oh. Well, then what are we doing with it?
I don't know. Looking inside of it.
Yeah, you just gotta like go with the flow, you know? Like you just have to like let life happen.
That's really deep. Yeah.
Dope.
Okay, but like if it turns out to be the bad guys, I will burn it down. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
That's my flow. Let's
I can
go.
dig it.
Let's go.
All right, so you just keep
Yeah.
on going.
Check it out.
All right, keep on going forward. As you get closer, you can see that like when I say structure, there's no inside to it. You can see when you're about half a mile out, or maybe 3/4 to half a mile out, that it's basically like a bunch of very long like logs, pretty much like very narrow logs, kind of just bundled together in like a cross pattern to pretty much just create a tower with a platform on top of it. And you can see a fairly small figure at the top of the platform.
Hello.
Do you get close enough to say hello? Because you're still like probably about 3/4. All right. As you get to about a half a mile, you definitely see the figure notice you, and then echoing across down the road, you can just hear the sound of some kind of signal horn gets blown from the top of the tower.
We are going to die.
If we die, we die.
I have a funeral sonnet prepared.
Dope.
That's nice.
Can I just say that you sound like every meme of like the indie girl? Like you're very like, welcome to my kitchen. We've got bananas.
Bananas and avocados. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Why am I taking psychic damage?
All right. Okay, so that's what happens. You are about half a mile out from this what is now, you realize, a watchtower, and the whatever is up on top of it keeping watch blows a horn.
Maybe they're like humans.
Can we see a race of this little figure?
Give me perception checks.
Sure.
I'm not good at those.
I rolled a 3 plus 10, 13.
Haha. Another 9 plus 1, so 10.
I got a 5 plus 6, so an 11.
Wow, no one rolled well. Anyway, actually, like, so pretty much all of you are in the same boat. You can just see like small, but that's about it.
How
Yeah,
many
it's
hours
closer.
have we been riding?
4 at this point, because you're pretty much just across the border.
So that'll be all my 3rd level spell slots for Phantom Steed.
Ooh.
Love
Ouch.
that.
And we'll
Ouch.
I
say
don't need a horse.
we'll say also 4th level slot. I don't care.
Mm.
I got stuff.
Ouch.
I should have gotten a horse.
Well, you know, you live and you learn, you know, you just like sometimes things happen and you just have to like vibe with it.
You sound like a person I don't know yet.
Sure.
You know, live and learn. Hanging on the edge of tomorrow.
Live, laugh, love, you know, like just.
Why am I taking psychic damage again?
Okay, what are you doing?
Going forward.
Let's
Getting
approach.
close enough to
Okay.
see what the race is.
So as you're approaching, you notice two things about it at the same time. You notice as you get closer, that's definitely a goblin sitting up there.
Right.
And you also hear as you notice that, you all begin to notice gradually, I believe in this order, Reed, Mark, Brooke-Lynnn, one at a time, you notice just this rumbling sound approaching you from the front.
From the front.
Yeah, just like kind of coming at you or forward and to the right. So like from the other side of the road, from the towers on your left, and like coming at you from like forward and to the right is this just like gradually getting louder rumbling sound.
Does it sound like a motorcycle?
It does not. No, it sounds like just like a rumbling underground, almost like a small localized earthquake coming towards you.
Oh no, it is a purple worm.
Brooke-Lynn's gonna call out in Goblin and just be like, "Hi, friends. How you doing?" But in Goblin.
Okay.
How does your accent translate?
Exactly the same.
Exactly.
Okay. As you call out in Goblin, the goblin on the watchtower, you can hear me like, "Arr!" Like cocks his head to one side and then like grabs the horn and then like lets out 3 short bursts on the horn, like doo, doo, doo. And then the rumbling like gets louder and louder and louder, gets up to you. But as you do that, the ground on one side of the road just bursts open, and you can see what looks to be like an armored land shark. Would be the best way to describe it. Comes hurtling out of the ground on its 4 very large stumpy legs and lands in front of you on the road. On its back, on a very specialized saddle, you can see 3 hobgoblins.
I love them.
Set up on its back, riding it. It looks like there's basically there's like a metal, almost like a windshield in front of them that probably keeps, like as it's burrowing, keeps them safe that they can lay down on. But they come up out of the ground and it lands in front of you. They all have their weapons raised, and then one more comes out of the tunnel behind it, but they stop, and you hear, and the goblin from up above shouts down to them in Goblinoid, "Hey, this one said something. See what it has to say."
Yes.
And they all currently are not immediately hostile towards you. And the hobgoblin that comes out from the tunnel, walking on a staff and wearing some robes, looks at Brooke-Lynnn and says, "You.
Hi.
What are you doing here?"
I'm a scientist, and I've come to do science here.
What does that mean?
It means I've come to study the world and find out its mysteries.
We have no need of that here. If you wish to stay alive, turn around and leave.
But don't you want to know things about the world? Like, why does the sun come up in the morning? Why does it go down at night? That's science, baby.
These are all things we will have much more time for.
Science, baby.
These are all things we will have much more time for once our conquest is complete.
But science can help your conquest. You know that, right? Because if you know how the world works, you can bend it to your will.
Yes, and there are those among us who that is their sole purpose.
Well, why can't I help you? I'm a good scientist.
Roll me a deception check.
Oh man.
I mean, you don't know I'm not a good scientist.
Right, no, but in convincing him that you would like to help is the deception here.
Okay, 21.
Okay. He puts up a hand to the rest of the hobgoblins, and they raise their weapons not pointing them at you anymore. Still out, but no longer pointed at you. And he narrows his eyes and says, you want to help?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why would you want to help us?
Because, I just feel like you guys have a lot more to offer in terms of scientific advancement. And I just want to, advance science, So I want to help the people that are going to help science.
Interesting. What do you know of the science of life?
Oh, that's a large question. What part of it do you want to know? I can tell you how babies are born. That's the science of life.
It is. Well, I don't know if I can trust you.
I can pinky promise.
What of these other two? Do they also wish to aid us?
They're my escorts because we heard from lots of people that you guys are really mean and would probably try to kill us. So I just wanted to be safe. So they're my escorts and all that stuff so that I didn't die.
Well, there's wisdom in this.
Yeah, because I'm smart.
Well, I think... You see him think for a moment. He seems to be in charge, and the rest of them are just kind of waiting for his command. And he says, I think that it would be helpful first to gauge your trustworthiness, and then your abilities with science, as you say.
Okay.
Come with me. And he gestures down the road in the direction that you were going.
I'm gonna look to the other two and just say, if push comes to shove, I have no issues biting the bullet.
Oh my god.
Great. I love you, but you need to be quiet right now, okay?
Wait,
I'm
Brooke-Lynnn,
trying to... What?
What's happening?
This lovely little friend of mine is gonna take us somewhere. So just follow, right? Just go with the flow.
He's also not that little. He's he's human height.
This little friend of mine.
Hobgoblins are medium-sized.
I'm your mommy now. You're my son now. You're little.
I am going
Sorry,
the
son.
other direction. I am done with this adventuring party.
Retire and become a farmer.
Okay, but we did get hired to do something.
Yeah, but go with the flow, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
The hobgoblin will turn around and say, what were you hired to do? In common.
Yeah, what we're hired to do.
Science. We were hired to do. I was hired to do science.
I heard we were hired to kill some Blood Queen.
Who hired you?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Perception check.
I actually don't
I'm sitting there oh my god.
9 plus 12.
Lord. Okay.
I fucking love birds.
Mm-hmm. He seems to accept that Reed is simple enough that he just doesn't remember. But then he turns to Brooke-Lynnn and says, who were you in fact hired to do something by someone?
Yeah. I was hired to do science by the head of my library that I go to. I don't know about those other two.
You said
I just found them. Yeah, I found them walking. Reed just cool. bagpipes. Like you can't miss him. So I was like, that's the kind of person I want protecting me, because they're gonna focus more on him than me, right? And then that one was just with him, so I was like, you might as well come too, right?
All right. Come with us then. And he turns the other goblins, and in goblin says to them, watch them. He takes the lead, and then there's 3 hobgoblins on the bulette, so one hops off either side and like walks on the left and right of you, and then the bulette itself is gonna go around behind and just like with the one rider just like ride along on the road behind you. And they begin escorting you further.
Do you think any of them is the person we are looking for?
Reed.
Yeah.
Play the silent game, right? Like,
Okay.
if you can keep quiet, I'll give you some money.
Okay.
So, like,
Okay.
Thank you.
Wait, so there's 3 hobgoblins and an armored bullet?
Yeah, 4. There's 3 hobgoblins, then the one in like robes with a staff, and then there's the It's not it itself is not armor. It like it is made of armor plating. It's just got like a saddle on it, basically, that one of them is using to ride.
Cool.
Yeah,
They
lead you.
Very cool.
So they lead you along the road slowly for a while, just kind of like walking along. You do spot a few more these like goblin checkpoints that they've set up. That basically got this really tall, spindly tower. It looks like the wind might blow it over at any minute, but you get the sense that the goblins on top are considered to be expendable. So you better to just be able to build more of them than to have them actually be sturdy. So they lead you past several of these, and it's a good while of walking before they turn you off the road onto like a smaller dirt path. I mean, the road is dirt too, but like a narrower path branching off this main road where you can see a village up ahead. And they lead you inside. By the time you're getting into this village, like the sun is beginning to set. And the hobgoblin in front with the staff kind of falls back a little bit to be walking amongst the 3 of you, and goes to Brooke-Lynnn and says, so you say that you are adept at science, yes?
Yeah.
Well, forgive me if I don't take you at your word, but we're going to need a sort of audition.
What kind of science do you want me to audition with?
I'll speak to... There's someone that you'll need to speak with, but I believe I have an idea of what she'll ask you to do.
Who's she?
She is our commander's chief advisor.
Okay.
Yes, this way. He leads you into the village, and you can see that, like, the ground around and in the village is like looks like someone got drunk with a plow. Pretty much, like there's just furrows and trenches and stuff dug all around, presumably by things like the creature behind you from attacking the village. You can also just see places where buildings were kind of scorched and burned. Some are burned down. Definitely some bloodstains around. It looks like this was the site of a fight, skirmish, battle, slaughter, but it is no longer. It pretty much looks like goblin-occupied territory. And as you come in, you can see a variety of goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears scattered around. You can immediately tell the differences between them. Like the bugbears appear to be more like off in their own little groups, kind of like huddled and talking together, out of sight as possible. The goblins are a little bit more kind of just like running around, doing their own thing, looking for food, scrambling around the place. Whereas the hobgoblins, you can see a definite sense of discipline and like military quality to them. Like you can see their tents are like set up in rows. They're doing things like running drills, polishing their weapons, sharpening their swords, tending to their armor. And then like occasionally barking out orders to the like goblins themselves and like sending them on errands and things. And you at a distance you can hear the like almost yipping bark sound of some kind of canine creature. So the hobgoblin in front of you leads you forward up to one of the largest structure in town, probably some kind of town hall. And he gets to the front. He says, "You may hitch your horses here."
Disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
Okay.
And then please, if you'll wait here, I need to speak with our mistress first, and then I believe she will want to speak with you.
Dope.
Okay.
And he heads inside. He heads inside, leaving you out there with the 3 hobgoblins, Bullet, and then, you know, the entire village worth of occupying goblins who are all like around you, just kind of occasionally. The goblins themselves are like staring at you. The hobgoblins are like occasionally checking on you, and then the bugbears are secretively just like staring at you from the shadows.
Brooke-Lynn's gonna wave at all the goblins, like, "Hi."
One of them just like sees you, like one of the closest ones, just looks around and goes,
Oh my god, you're so cute. I love you.
mutter to each other.
What are they saying?
They're too far. They're like whisperings. It's hard to hear from here.
Secretive little friends. Aw.
Do you think I should perform for them to ease the tension?
And honestly, it might get
Maybe.
us killed.
Yeah, maybe save it. I'll let you know when you should perform, okay?
I have less intrusive instruments. I have a sham.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I shall show you, and I pull up the sham. A sham.
Okay. What does a sham look like for our audience? And party. Oh, did we lose Justin? Oh, there he is.
It looks like a big old Cupid like horn.
Okay.
Long Cupid horn.
All right.
That is a sham, and I put it away.
All right.
Dope.
Okay.
All right. So, a few minutes pass. Anybody want to do anything while you're just kind of sitting out here waiting?
I'm just vibing.
Okay. A little bit goes by, and then the hobgoblin comes out the front door and says, "Please join me inside.
It's
So-
me or all of us.
All of you, please."
We're going inside.
Okay. So he leads you in. You can see this play. You can see again, like barely cleaned up bloodstains all over the place, broken furniture that's been kind of just pushed off to the side. There was a fight here, but it's been cleaned up and made into something more functional, probably a command post of some kind. And he leads you into what basically is a central meeting room, where you can see the semi-translucent form with like kind of like the outside glowing dull amber color, like just right at the edges of her silhouette. You can see a female form, but like covered in fur. And as she turns around, you can see that she is a basically fur-covered female body with the head of a hyena. Just kind of like draped in very flowing fabrics. And she turns around to see you, and you get the sense, those of you who can do magic, that this is some kind of magical projection, some kind of illusion.
Mhm.
A scientific illusion, you mean?
Oh yeah. She turns around to see you and says, "These are the ones that you spoke of that wish to aid in our scientific endeavors."
Yeah.
Well, leave them with me and bring in the specimen. nods and then backs out. And then she steps forward. It's strange because she doesn't cast a shadow and her footsteps make no sound. So, or like, like there's no rustling to her clothes. It's those little tiny noises that a person makes when they move that you don't really notice until they're completely absent.
So
She says, which one of you is the scientist?
It's me. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So I might understand that you wish to aid us.
Well, ultimately, I wish to aid science, and you guys just seem like the best option to do that.
Well, forgive me if I'm suspicious, but it's not often that those from outside of our ranks wish to join us.
Wow, you guys are like totally cool. I've made so many friends.
Well, if only others could be quite as accepting as you are.
Yeah.
But given that I'm not quite that trusting, I will need a test of your... First, I will need a test of your capabilities, and then a test of your loyalty. And as she says that, you can see a couple of the hobgoblins from outside come in the doorway behind you into the room. And there's kind of like a table at the front of the room that they bring something in, like a wooden slab. They bring it in with something on it with a sheet draped over it. They bring this in and set it on the table. And then she makes her way over, and gestures at it, and says, beneath here is a specimen of, let's just say one of my experiments. I will give you a time limit. You'll know when the time is up. If you can discern, relevant information about this specimen, you will have passed my test. If you do not do so in the amount of time, you will no longer be my problem.
what's relevant information?
I would think that a woman of science would be able to tell that for herself.
Yeah.
We are going
sure.
to die.
We all are gonna die someday, Reed. Let's not make a big deal right now.
Not me. I don't age.
Cool. So, like, when does it begin?
The hobgoblin stepped back up to the doorway, and she gestures at the thing with the sheet on it and says, whenever you're ready. And then she vanishes.
Haha, cool. Brooke-Lynn's gonna go up and take the sheet off.
Okay. You take the sheet off, and you see something you've never seen before. It appears to be some kind of four-legged creature, vaguely like canine in shape, almost. But the tail is like the whole body, first of all, no fur, is like scaly, like reptilian scales all over the body, and the tail is very like long and like a lizard tail. The head is, if like, it looks like if you crossed a snake and a canine head, like it comes to like a diamond shaped point and has like almost slits for eyes and the nose, and it's just kind of like laid out, unmoving, presumably dead, on this table.
Dope.
Oh. I'm gonna examine it.
Okay. I will say relevant skills for this would probably be either nature or medicine.
I'm gonna go for medicine.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Let's get a good roll. 19.
Okay. So you begin your preliminary examination of it. You start looking over its body from the outside based on the scales and everything. It looks like your first thing you need to discern is whether or not it is in fact a reptile or a mammal. And based on the scales and everything and what you notice from just the outside looking at it, it does appear to be cold-blooded, so closer in fact to a reptile. Another thing from your external investigation that you notice is that the eyes are very, very small to the point of almost being unnecessary or not very helpful. So you would guess that presumably it has some means of detecting things other than sight. And then when you go for the mouth, like pry the mouth open, and you notice that as it opens, it's not like a normal like snake or dog/wolf mouth that like opens just like a jaw. Actually, as you open it, it also kind of unfolds to the sides. And as its mouth opens, it turns into like a full circular, almost lamprey-like mouth with teeth going in all directions.
That's fun. Well,
If you'd like to,
should
if you'd like to
I cut
continue
this bitch
investigating,
open?
yeah, I was gonna say if you'd like to continue investigating, now I'll need another roll for basically like a more detailed autopsy on the inside.
Okay, so Brooke-Lynnn from her bag is gonna pull out like big gloves and like safety goggles,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's gonna take a dagger and just.
Okay, roll me another medicine check to see what you can get.
16.
Okay. So as you cut into it and start looking inside, you're definitely confirmed the fact that it is probably cold-blooded. Looking at, especially as you start digging around in like the face and head area, because one of the things that probably would be interesting is if it doesn't have, this is clearly a predator. Predators are usually very dependent on sight, to find their prey. So if it doesn't depend on sight, what does it depend on? And you managed to find basically sensory organs that would be consistent with a lot of types of reptiles, especially some snakes, that have the ability to, basically, as far as you would understand it, see body heat. So like infrared vision effectively is what is like the kind of like nighttime predators that can see independent of light, basically, is one of the things you would notice about this. And it seems like there's something else here. There's some things, just as you're looking at it, there's some aspects about its scales and the skin and some of the other things about it that are not quite making sense just yet. You can tell there's one more very important thing you haven't quite grasped just yet.
Can I try again?
You can, yes. Time is continuing to pass through each of these.
Yeah. She's just digging around and they're like, ugh.
Yep.
Gross.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Just as you start to hear a very distant, or actually as Reed, you begin to hear a very distant sound of like very soft footsteps moving throughout the front part of the building. Brooke-Lynnn, you notice you've just barely managed to notice through looking at this thing. There are certain creatures that you've studied and read about, like the octopus, certain types of octopus, and specifically chameleons, that have the ability to change their color to blend into their surroundings. And you get the sense that that is also something that this creature is capable of.
That's fucking sected.
I hear footsteps approaching, possibly.
Okay. Well, I did it. I examined the body.
Do you just like yell that out?
Yeah.
Okay. The door opens and the hobgoblin with the staff that you saw enters inside, leaves the door open behind him, and he says, "And what did you find out?"
And she's like holding her bloody gloves up like this. Just
Right.
Well, so first of all, this thing can like sense body heat maybe because of like these things up here. And then like you see these scales. I have reason to believe like up here in my brain that it can like maybe change color like chameleons.
You see him smile and nod, and he says, "You would be correct." And then he taps his staff on the ground and says, he barks out a word that you would speak in Goblin understand to mean up here. and around him, or just scattered throughout the room now, 6 of these things just kind of come into view in the room with the 3 of you, all just kind of like sniffing around at you and in your direction. A couple of them very interested in Reed in particular. And he says, "Very good. This was one of the earlier creations of our mistress whom you spoke to."
She made it?
She did. The creation of useful life is a hobby of hers.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it.
There's a project she's working on. I cannot say more than that, but there is a project she's working on that would, well, some aid. She would appreciate some aid with, should you be interested in it.
Oh, yeah, totally. 100%.
Good. Then next we need to test your loyalty.
Great. How are we doing that?
I'm very glad you asked. You see, as I mentioned, we need to test your loyalty. We need to know if you are truly... We need to know if you are truly on our side. So a show of good faith would be most appreciated. And the best way we can think for you to show that is to kill someone who's a nuisance to us.
Who?
Do you agree to the terms?
Yeah.
Excellent. Then in that case, please follow me and I will give you the details.
Okay, come on, guys. We're gonna go get information.
Dope.
We are not asking questions. Okay.
It's better this way. Let's go.
All right. So he leads you back out of the building, and you're all avoiding conflict much longer than I thought you would. Well done.
Didn't think it would happen like this.
Yeah, rolling well. So he leads you out of the building, and he kind of just like takes you to the edge of the village towards the road and points in a direction and says, "Further in that direction, I can give you more details in a moment. There is an abandoned outpost, not even a fort, just a very small structure. It is within our territory. However, there is a very capable member of the local court who has holed up there with some of the Duchess's subjects. They have been giving us some trouble, and they have been managing to resist our incursions, and it has been deemed that they are not, while they are a nuisance, they are not worth the resources necessary to eliminate them. However, I think this would make an excellent test for you. Eliminate one of the Duchess's more powerful subjects for us, and take the structure, and your loyalty will be, well, if not assured, certainly we'll be encouraged to believe you.
Do I have to keep the structure intact, or can I just like burn it down?
He smiles again, very happy by that. He says, "I like the way you think. It is a stone structure, so if you are capable of burning it down, I would be very impressed. But no, it does not need to stay standing."
Are these people evil?
He just kind of looks at you and says, "I don't understand the question."
Do they do bad things?
They do things that are counter to our desires.
Noted.
By the by, I am under, so you know.
Under what?
Ondur with an O.
Ah, that's your name.
Yes, my name is
So-
my name is Ondur.
Sup, I'm Mark.
Hi, I'm Brooke-Lynnn.
I am Reed.
Yeah.
I hopefully look forward to seeing you more. Now, the structure is a few miles that way, in the center of a field. It is at the top of a short hill, visible for quite a distance. And essentially, if everyone inside is no longer breathing or their heart is no longer beating, that would be sufficient to prove your loyalty. Don't let any escape. Or
Is
live.
there anyone else around right now, or is it like the three of us talking to this guy?
It's like the three of you talking to this guy. The like war camp in the village is pretty close by, though.
Okay.
And then he says, "Do this and return, and we will certainly see what my mistress has in store for you."
Okay. It was nice meeting you.
You as well.
Yeah, that's your name.
It is also pretty much by now the sun is fully after like you spent a while investigating that thing and like doing a research and testing and stuff, so it's probably like pretty much it's dark now.
Okay. Or should we do this at night so they don't see us coming?
That's up to you. I will leave you to your deliberation. Part of this is also proving your capabilities.
Okay.
So, I'll leave you to it. And he walks back into the village.
I
And now
don't
it's
trust
just the three of us?
any of these people.
I did not expect that to work, gonna be honest. The light work movie kind of fucked.
Wait, so like, I mean, like, so there's nobody else around, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, we're supposed to kill that advisor lady, right?
I think so. I wasn't really paying attention, but like I definitely remember something about an important person, and she seems important.
She does. All I know is that we can't kill the people at the fort.
No.
That would be really bad. But like, what if we made it look like they were dead?
Maybe we should just like go there and like talk to them about it.
Or we just wipe out this place.
There is like 40 hobgoblins here.
Yeah.
But fire. I could just set it all on fire.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure you are aware of the numbers. You can do whatever you want.
I will play a sonnet of their destruction.
Okay,
All right, so
so
what y'all doing?
let's go to this place and like talk to the super powerful guy or whatever.
Yeah, because maybe like that person can make it look like they're all dead. And then we get close to the advisor and I'll just like, you know, and like maybe burn her alive.
We should
whatever.
come up with like a code word for when we're ready, because like I was just gonna hit that guy with my axe when he turned around, but then I didn't want to like not have you guys know what's happening. You
I
know
would
what I
have
mean?
helped.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
I
I mean,
wish
he
I knew
seemed
that.
really nice. So like maybe not him. But like,
He
yeah.
told us to possibly go kill innocent people.
Yeah, but is anyone truly innocent though?
Yes, children, babies.
No. Have you met a child or a baby? Nah.
All right, so
Anyway,
you're gonna
let's
head
go.
in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So you walk along, you kind of like cross over the road and pretty much are walking through a field in between a few like large wooded areas. Eventually you manage to spot, you come around a bend around some trees and you spot, at a distance, this, good sized hill with not even the size of like Weathertop from Lord of the Rings. Like it's just like an old, kind of dilapidated, barely there stone structure that looks like there's a couple places that have like overhangs to provide shelter, but for the most part, it is just like you can't even really tell exactly what it originally was because enough of it is crumbled and fallen apart that you can just tell that like this used to be something, maybe a fortification. It could also just been like a building.
Dope.
Do you think we should let them know we're on our way? Or like sneak up on them and then be like, oh, we're not here to kill you, sorry.
I don't think sneaking up would be the best bet.
I have to agree with Reed on this one.
So like maybe we should play his bagpipes to let them know we're coming.
Excellent.
Perhaps he should.
Okay.
I will play. What would you like me to play? Any recommendations?
No.
Like a friendly, we're not gonna kill you tune.
Yeah, something just like jolly.
That's the same song you played before.
It's the only one I know.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
You just like march forward while Rita's just blaring on the bagpipes. Excellent. Okay. So you march your way closer, and you as you approach, you can see definitely spot movement inside, and you can definitely spot movement coming from like between the spaces and stuff. And eventually, as you approach, a woman steps out into like the closest thing there is to like an entryway. There's enough crumbling walls and things that there's not very good avenues of approach. There's pretty much like one path up inside, and a woman steps out into that entryway. She's wearing, from this distance, it looks just like black armor, and she has a long sword, or like black, like mostly leather armor. So looks mostly fairly light, with a long sword out, just kind of like ready but confused, just watching you all approach.
Hi, friend. How are you?
Hello.
Greetings.
Who are you?
Mark.
Hi.
Reed.
What are you doing here, blasting music within goblin-controlled territory?
We were sent to kill you.
But we're not going to.
Yeah, you see, she just said that she like raises her blade up a little bit, but then like halfway lowers it when you see you're not going to.
So like we have a funny little story to tell you, and like, haha, right? Because like we were hired to kill like a goblin person that's like super important. But then we went there and I convinced them that I was there to help them. So then they're like, oh, we need to test your loyalty. Go kill the people here. And we're like, oh, we don't want to do that. So like we're here now to tell you that we're supposed to kill you and help us. Please help.
Please, I'm begging.
So you were sent to kill an important goblin. Who sent you for that?
This old guy, but it was like at a castle thing. It was
On
the
top of a
princess.
river.
Yeah, like a princess or something.
Silver Princess sent you. All right.
Yeah, that's the one.
The Silver Princess had a receding hairline.
I don't think that one was the princess.
Oh, I am sorry.
Yeah.
So the Silver Princess sent you to eliminate a commander within the goblin army?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are aware that there has recently been a powerful commander who's arrived to oversee things, so that would make sense. And then you've managed to convince them that you are on their side, and then as a test of loyalty, they've sent you here to kill me.
Yeah, it's like
and
you were
also
there or
all
something.
the civilians you have in here.
Yeah, like everyone here is supposed to die.
You can hear there's like soft gasps inside from the people huddled in the darkness. And she looks back and says, well, obviously I can't let that happen.
But we weren't gonna do it. So, you know.
I appreciate that. So what is it that? Where do we go from here?
Great question.
So, do you have a way to make it look like everyone in there is dead?
Some of the villagers brought with the livestock. I suppose we could, if we vacated and if we slaughtered the livestock, we could make it appear that you killed everyone inside, given the amount of blood.
And we could also like torch the livestock to like an insane degree to be like, we just burned them all up, all crispity like.
Yeah.
I don't think we should just kill the livestock.
But like, they can't see if the hearts are still beating if they think they're all turned to ash. So I like the way you think there.
Thanks.
She says, we could temporarily relocate to the woods, but if you were sent by the Silver Princess to kill the commander, that would go a long way towards helping us. That would create enough chaos that we could get into the castle.
So we
where's
kill
the
the
commander? We don't know where the commander is.
Most likely he is within the siege camp surrounding the castle.
Wait, so the commander's not some hyena chick?
No, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's a scientist like me. She does science.
Our reports indicate that she is a good distance away. She's second to the one commanding the entire army. I believe you're only here to kill the leader of this siege in particular.
Is that a man named by any chance Ondur?
I don't think so, no.
How
There
convenient that would have been, though. Like,
would have been very convenient.
There are rumors about these commanders, about these new siege commanders that have been promoted. That they command from the rear and that they're never seen during the light of day.
Are they vampires?
That is a consideration, yes.
For fuck's sake.
actually. Oh. I thought they were gonna be like goblins or like the bigger ones, you know? Not vampires.
I think they may be both.
Oh, that's even worse. That is an affront to science, yo.
And to the natural order of things.
But
how can you go with the flow if you're a vampire?
I don't know, but
you just can't. You can't do it.
So like we have to kill him for science.
Yeah, and also for the natural order of things. And also just because it sounds kind of fun.
Yes, it does.
Well, if you are able, if this gambit of yours will enable you to get close enough to the commander to kill him, then I think it's the best bet we have. It's the best bet we have, any of us have here, because if we don't take this opportunity, they will overrun us eventually.
Tragic.
I'm desperate, so I'm going to have to trust you.
I can pinky promise that I won't like fuck you over.
I appreciate that, but I think at this point I have no other choice but to believe you.
I pinky promise there. That's fine.
My name is Layla, by the way.
Mark.
Pretty name.
Thank you.
Is she pretty?
It's hard to tell in the darkness, but probably.
I have dark vision.
Oh, do you? That's right. Okay. Wait, you do?
Yes. Shadow sorcery, baby.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're a sorcerer. Oh, okay. I didn't even know what you were playing. Then
Science.
Yeah. She's definitely like, you can see she is she's like late 30s, blonde hair, like fairly. She's like lean, muscular, like clearly is very athletic, but like in like a lean, quick kind of way. You can tell based on her armor that she's like is not a direct combatant. She's more of like a stealthy kind of person.
I'm
And
in love.
actually, and also on the center of the chest plate and on the shoulder, you can see a red circle with a black hand in the middle as like the insignia.
Hi, Brooke-Lynn's like hella gay right now, and she's just hard eyes. Like, hi.
Hey, Brooke-Lynn,
Yeah.
you're drooling.
Oh. Okay. Let's go. Let's stage a murder. Let's do it.
All right, I'll go let everyone know what's happening if you make whatever preparations you need.
Okay, like what are we doing? Like, are we just setting it all on fire and burning some livestock, or like?
Well, let's
Whatever you think is best.
Let's just burn everything down. Burn it to the ground.
I can take them somewhere safe. Maybe. Let me double check. In my memory banks.
All right, while you're checking, I'll go let them know what's happening. She
Beep, boop, beep,
sheathes
boop,
her
beep,
sword
boop.
and heads back inside.
Beep boop beep boop beep boop.
This is actually going pretty good. Like, maybe I should get out of the library more often.
Or we could always just go back to the goblins and be like, hey, what the fuck? You told us we were gonna like find people to kill there, and when we got there, there was nothing but some fucking livestock.
But we killed that anyways, just, burn the place down.
I
So we
have
killed the
returned
livestock.
from my memory banks.
Oh, great.
It will take me It will take me a minute to cast this. I need to draw a circle. And I can teleport them away.
To where?
A location. Hopefully that I know of.
Yeah, you have teleportation circle?
Yeah, magical secrets.
Okay, then yeah, you would be aware of I think part of the spell is two circle locations.
Yeah.
And I don't know where those would be. Because I don't know where this guy is from.
Put
I
him
am
in the
from
University Empire.
Yeah.
No, I know where one of them is. I know where one of them is.
The Black Cat Cavern.
So it I draw a 10-foot diameter circle on the ground with a sigil to a place I know. A shimmering portal opens the circle you draw and remains open until the end of my next turn. Any creature that enters the portal instantly appears within 5 feet of the destination circle.
Okay.
I can make it permanent if I cast it every day for a year, but I'm not going to do that.
Right. Okay. A little bit later, Layla comes back out. She says, "All right, everyone's ready.
I can teleport you somewhere safe.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
That would be wonderful. Where?
I don't know. Let me check my memory banks. Samuel, where would they go?
They would be going to a good distance to the east where you were built.
You will be going to the east, a good distance to where I was built.
In the land of the gnomes.
In the land of the gnomes.
He says, well, that sounds safe enough. Would they be able to return us home, or would we have to walk? Or would they also be capable of teleportation if we were
I
wanted to come back?
believe so.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, if that's the case.
Just tell them Reed sent you to keep you safe.
If that's the case, then if you'll have me, I can come with you and provide assistance. If I don't need to protect them, then...
Okay. For them, then. And I'm going to start drawing a circle.
Okay. She'll go in and let them know what's up.
And I cast... Yeah, I'll start casting teleportation circle.
Okay.
Magical secrets.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
So you cast teleportation circle, and like she shuffles all the people through. You are sending them to the gnome capital of Zarkos Deep,
Yeah.
where
Goodbye.
where a group of where a gnome artificer in particular recently did discover the process of creating Warforged, and you would probably be a prototype.
Oh my.
5. Is that what? Little 5.
I am related to 5.
I love 5.
All right. And I don't want to murder livestock, so they go too.
Okay, you send everybody in.
Yep.
And then Layla stays back, so the teleportation circle vanishes at the end, leaving just the circle on the ground.
I can do that one more time once we're done if you want to join them.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I just cannot cast any 5th level spells now, if that is the case.
I think that if they'll be safe where you are, I can join them tomorrow, if need be, or another day.
Okay.
In the meantime, how are we going to stage this to fool the goblins?
Burn the place down.
Yeah,
That
what if we
is
just,
my
like-
specialty?
Yeah, what if we just like wreck the place so we can act like we're really mad that there was no villagers here when we got here?
If there were no villagers here, will that still be a sufficient test of loyalty?
No.
Well, I don't know, but we just sent the livestock away, so we have no way to prove we killed anything.
I'm not going to kill innocent animals.
If enough burning and destroying the place could mask the fact that there are no bodies long enough for you to achieve what you need to. It might not last for a very long time, but it would give you the window you need.
Yeah. So, like, am I throwing a ball of fire at this bitch or what?
Yes.
Perhaps we should. I've been staying here for some time. It is a significant amount of wood. If we could gather some logs from the woods and perhaps nearby and add some fuel, perhaps we could. Unless any of you have anything that would work, just to provide a bit more to burn.
I have a candle.
An explorer's pack.
Then I suggest you take that axe and join me in the woods so we can gather up some wood to burn.
Oh, this axe, this one isn't for cutting down wood. And then I take out one of my 2 hand axes. And I'm like, this axe is for cutting down wood.
All right. Well, whatever works. All right. So all of you basically just go to staging this place into a bonfire.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. You get together. You manage to go through, find enough wood, find enough supplies. There were some like old crates and barrels and stuff that you managed to pile up from inside, and pretty much get the place set up so that if you lit it all on fire and let it burn for a bit, it would probably like destroy the heat would destroy what's left of the mortar and collapse all of it, and at least for a while provide enough rubble that it would be hard to tell there were not corpses inside.
Okay.
All right, so you work into the night, and you get to the point where it's all set up and ready for you to light it.
Sweet.
Brooke-Lynn's gonna go over and she's gonna like snap her fingers and cast a bunch of fire bolts.
Okay, so just little fire bolts in there.
Little
Okay, takes you a minute. It starts to burn up, but then it starts to crackle. A few little things start to crackle into life, and it gradually starts to grow and grow and grow and burn. Smoke starts to trickle out the top.
Hey, my work here is done. Let's go.
She says,
Is anybody else tired?
yeah, it's like the middle of the night now.
I don't need sleep.
How can you be tired when we have such exciting things going on? And she's gesturing behind her to the bonfire growing.
Yeah, it's like a slowly, but like there's a glow coming in from inside. It's gonna take a bit before it's like a full raging fire.
Okay, well, why don't we just like rest here for the night so that we can make sure it looks good in the morning, nice and broken and busted, and then we can head back to the camp.
Yeah, that's a smart idea.
Layla says, if you're going to set up camp here, I'm going to find my way into the woods where I can hide. I don't want to be seen with you.
Yeah, you should
I don't want you to be
disappear.
seen with me. I'll keep an eye on you from a distance. If you end up needing anything, or if you are taken to the leader, I'll do my best to follow along at a distance.
Oh, that's right. We haven't come up with our code word yet.
Jam.
No.
Marmalade.
I feel like it has to be something we could reasonably drop in a conversation so that they wouldn't suspect anything.
Goblin.
Nope. That's too easy to drop into conversation.
Now. Attack.
What about fire?
What about few boy? With like a few boy. You know?
A few, boy, right?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god. Layla, do you have any ideas?
Let's just do the element of surprise.
I'm doing few boy.
Okay.
I have to all be the same so we know.
Fuel boy.
Fine, few boy. Okay.
I'm going to go set up camp in the woods. Rest well.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And she heads off into the woods to be away from you so that she's not spotted. And you all set up camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
God, I hate to see her go, but I love to watch her leave.
You gay bitch.
All right. So you head out, or you don't. You set up camp. You set,
I
and,
set up
like
camp.
gradually the building just catching more and more and more on fire next to you. Just a column of smoke. Just like it comes a point where you have to like scoot your tents a little further away because it's like flames just start like shooting out the doorway. It's like, oh, that's closer than I thought.
I love it.
Some stones begin to tumble off and roll down the hill. So
Look at science in action. Isn't it just great?
It's beautiful.
Sure.
Right. So y'all get a long rest in then?
Yeah, now the entire
Yeah.
time, for 6 hours, I'll be sentry's rest in an inactive, motionless state. I
Okay.
am completely conscious while this happens.
Okay. So y'all get a long rest.
Mhm.
Take your long rest. And in the wee early hours of the morning, just basically when it counts as a long rest, you see figures approaching from the direction of the village you came from.
I quickly will cast Minor Illusion somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and create the illusion of a peasant that's been cut in half.
Okay. Andor is leading the group of people coming up, and as he approaches, the other two of you are starting to wake up. And as he comes up, there's just like a towering inferno, or it's like 8 hours later, so it's like smoldering at this point. It's burning. Most of it is pretty much collapsed in on itself. It's just like smoking pile of rubble. And he comes out and sees you all like groggily waking up, and seems pleased and says, "You sleep soundly for murderers."
The sonnet of their screams is relaxing.
Yeah, what he said.
I'm just vibing, you know. It was
Done.
warm and cozy.
Well done. Well done.
Oh no, I just realized Minor Illusion lasts for a minute.
He looks in the direction. He like looks in the direction of the peasant, but it's like there's like some tall grass, so he like kind of sees them poking up, and then like his vision just kind of glazes over them, and then he comes back over to you. Doesn't really pay it too much attention.
Sweet.
Rolled low on that perception check.
Oof.
Yeah, and then he says, "Well, then it seems that you have in fact proved your loyalty.
Did you have any doubt that I would?
If we didn't have doubts, we wouldn't have needed to test you."
Excellent.
So like now what? Do I get to go do science with that lady, your advisor?
She, it'll be some time before you can work with her directly, but our siege commander will most likely now be your point of contact. He speaks with Our Lady and our master directly,
Okay.
so he would be the best person for you to speak with if you wish to work with her someday.
So how quickly can I meet him? Because I really wanted to work with her. She seems very interesting.
I can take you there now.
That would be lovely. Oh my god, you're the best.
Thank you.
Clearly, you're an asset worth having, and if we are going to succeed in the siege quickly, there are certain projects our mistress is working on that I think some extra help could be useful with.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, gather your things and join me as we go towards the castle.
Okay.
So
Guys, get your things.
my
This
things
was
are
really-
got.
Alright. Rita,
Righty.
you good?
I am
Good,
good.
let's
Sorry, I was focusing on the smell of death.
Love it. Never list it. Let's go.
All right. Please join us then. We will escort you to the war camp.
Okay.
Alright,
All right.
let's go.
Yeah, and you begin traveling again away from the smoldering wreckage of this place. Hopefully Layla is following along as you continue. You make your way kind of around these woods and then further north along the road.
Can I look around and make sure she is following around?
Make me a perception check.
Oh. Oh yeah. Math. 23.
Okay, just barely you managed to spot her.
Oh, nice.
She is like moving like deep in the woods, just barely keeping like enough line of sight to keep track of you. But since you're moving in a very predictable path, she's keeping a distance just to check in occasionally. So just like very few times you spot her like deep in the shadows of the woods, just following along at a distance.
Cool.
All right. And you make your way along. Eventually you come to a surrounding area of clearly farmland. A good couple miles of like a band of farmland around this area that has been ransacked and burned and looted. You can see up ahead a larger castle town, not nearly as big as the castle that the Silver Princess's citadel, but still fairly large. The Walden area around it is bigger though, and the castle itself looks less like a castle and more like almost like a Gothic manor house, but like expanded up to like castle size with like very steep peaked roofs. It's a design that would make Strahd proud.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy.
Yeah. And you can see that it is surrounded by goblin war camps. You can see the rows and rows and rows and rows of hobgoblin tents, and you can see just kind of like areas where like the goblins are like grouped together. As well as you're approaching, kind of like out in the fields and stuff, you can see the carcass of like a cow laid out on the ground, and you can see two furry individuals, like fairly large, gangly with long, spindly limbs, like on all fours, just like tearing into the body of this cow. They like look up at you, and you can see humanoid gnolls, like staring at you as you pass. Then they see that you're escorted, and they go back to eating.
Hi.
All right, and you continue onward. You eventually come into like the war camp part proper, where there is, the rows and rows of tents, people, hobgoblins, like blacksmiths. Pretty much, it's a full siege camp prepared, and you can see them building and preparing siege engines, things like catapults and battering rams, getting ready to try and like knock down the gates of this place and make their way inside. And the Andor leads you further into the back, where you come to a fairly large, very dark fabric. It's either like a blue or a purple, black, somewhere in that realm of color. Very dark, very thick fabric tent, like kind of like almost like a pavilion tent, set up near the back of the war camp. And he comes up to the door and holds the tent flap open and gestures inside.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Thank you.
Let's go. Let's
All right.
go.
So you head inside. He follows after, and you can see what looks to be a. It looks like a, like a plan, like a war room. There's like a planning table. There's a map. There's, it's fairly organized in here, but it also kind of looks like living quarters. It is also pretty much pitch black inside. It is so very dark. It is thick fabric, like in multiple layers. And as you come in, Andor behind you says, this is the scientist and her guards that I messaged you about, my lord. And from the back of the room, a figure turns around, and you can see this very large, hulking gnoll figure, probably about 7 feet tall, but like with the head hunched forward, kind of sloping down. And I think, wait, do Warforged don't have dark vision, do they?
Ooh, good question. Nope.
Okay, so only only Brooke-Lynnn can really see him. You can see this very large, like his fur. You can see in the dark has like faded almost like to a very like a paler, more muted version of brown, almost in the direction of gray. But all of you can see his glowing yellow eyes as he turns around to face you, and his like normally like fanged, toothy predator mouth like has been extended into like almost a cartoonish grin of fangs.
Is he
And
jellicle?
No. And he turns around and sees all of you and he says, "Good. Welcome. I understand.
Hi.
I understand you are allies of ours. Yes?"
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stalks forward towards you, thumping sound with each of his feet on the dirt. As you can tell, like he begins like sniffing at the air and pacing back and forth in front of the three of you. And Andor says, This is the siege commander in charge of this entire endeavor."
Hi. I'm Brooke-Lynnn.
Sup, Mark.
I am Reed, harbinger of death.
Leans into Reed in particular. "You are strange. No blood flows through your veins."
It does not.
He narrows his eyes and seems disappointed by that, but then like looks at the other two and seems pleased.
I flow in the blood of my enemies.
Large cartoonish grin. "That is what I like to hear, my subordinates."
Okay.
And Andor says, "Well, this one passed the mistress's test. She's quite capable in the realms of science, and they also removed a problem for us, so their loyalty has been assured." And the siege commander just kind of nods along, looking at all of you, and says, "Then I believe I have work for all of you to do."
Like right now?
"Are you tired?"
Like a little bit.
"You will serve me one way or another. You will either do my bidding, or I'm also rather hungry."
I do not require rest.
"I like this one more every minute."
Okay.
So is it just the three of us, Under, and the Knoll captain?
Yep.
I'm gonna casually just kind of do a stretch and point a finger at Mark and cast message.
Okay.
I think this is the one we are supposed to kill. Please do not speak out loud.
I'm just gonna do the gesture like that. Oh, it's warm in here.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna cast message again.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing it now?
I'm gonna swing on under.
Oh, so you're just gonna turn around and just.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, you guys have enough communication that you could all act in surprise.
What is happening?
All right. So Mark is attacking Ondor. What are Brooke-Lynnn and?
I'm going for the Noel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get some stuff ready here real quick. Get the combat ready.
It only took us like 2.5 hours to
I
get
know,
to combat.
How long did you
That's the
say?
record.
How long would you say we were actually talking to these two?
Couple of minutes.
Cool. Oh, never mind. I had to speak to it alone to do that.
Okay.
Piss.
That I pulled up so many monster stats that I just do not need.
Oh no.
That's fine.
Don't look at the news right now, everyone.
Okay.
Fair enough. I don't look at it anyways.
Okay.
All right.
Are you rolling
So,
initiative or?
roll. Yeah, roll initiative. Actually, yeah, roll initiative because they have the surprised condition.
Reed got a 16.
I got a 19.
Brooke-Lynnn got a dirty 20.
I like Reed.
Okay, so Brooklyn got a 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then who got the 19?
Mark.
Okay. And then
16.
16 for Reed. Wow. Okay. Oh, and all right. Yeah. All right. Brooke-Lynnn, you go first. They have the surprised condition.
Let's make things a little chaotic with the good old 4th level chaos bolt.
Ooh, nice.
Big Daddy Commander, man.
Okay.
Ooh.
I've been rolling so well all day. 16 plus 7.
To hit?
Yeah, to hit.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that definitely hits.
G bless. On the hit, the target takes 2d8 plus 1d6. So 3, 8, plus 2. So 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fire damage.
Okay. 13 fire damage, you said?
13 fire damage.
Okay. So you just send this bolt of fire straight at him, slams into his shoulder, which takes him completely off guard.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Mark, your turn.
All right, I would like to rage.
Okay.
And so the way like Mark rages is that like he's usually just like a very very like calm and like even level, very monotone type dude.
Mhm.
Same.
But then when he's raging, he like smiles and his eyes just get a bit wider. That's,
Okay.
that's really it.
This is weird.
Vibe check.
Yeah. But yeah, I am going to reckless attack
Okay.
the mage or the whatever his name is under.
Ondor, yeah. All right.
Like a lot.
Does it beat a 13?
It does.
Yeah, you hit.
It's like an 18 plus 8.
Good God. Yes, you hit Ondor.
Okay, great. So that is a D12 plus a D6. Okay. So 6 points of slashing and 2 points of radiant.
Okay. So 6 points. So 8 points of damage. All right.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna hit him again.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Yeah.
Because I have the extra attack at this point.
Right.
And
I was asking about the original. I was like, did you roll really low on the damage?
Oh yeah, I rolled real bad on the damage.
Okay, I was gonna say like 6. Really?
Yeah. I rolled 2 2s.
Oh boy.
Oh wait. No, sorry. So, fuck. It's 7 points of radiant damage because it's also half my barbarian level.
Oh, okay. So how many more points was that?
Like another 5.
Okay. And did you add
but
your
then-
rage bonus to damage too?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So I think that's 3.
Yes.
Okay. 3 more damage. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. I'm like,
sorry.
that sounded low
Yeah.
for a barbarian.
But yeah, the second attack is a 19 plus 8.
Yeah, that definitely is. You just turn around and just lay into this wizard.
Poor wizard.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's so much better. So 14 slashing plus another 3, so 17 slashing plus 8 radiant.
So 25 damage total.
Yeah.
Wizard
He is looking terrible. Okay. That'll make it then the Night Lord's turn, as their stat block is labeled. So he
Gross.
loses the surprise condition at the end of his turn, and now he can take reactions again. However, at the beginning of his turn,
Great.
he like shakes out of his surprise and like looks directly at Brooke-Lynnn, and you can see just the like scorch on his shoulder and the burn just completely heals over.
Makes sense.
Hate that about him.
And he appears to be back at full health.
Big not fan.
Oh,
Oh no.
I have a feeling we're dealing with a null vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dealing with a null vampire. So that's fun. Okay, but that's his turn. And then Andor's turn. Andor is also surprised, so he shakes out of it, but is like bleeding profusely. But he does not get to take a turn until next turn. So that brings us back up to the top of Brooke-Lynnn.
I didn't get a turn.
Oh, did I skip you?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry. Yes, you should have gone. That's right. Reed, you would have gone before either of them.
Cool. Well then, I'm going to stab the null vampire with my rapier.
Okay.
18 to hit.
Yes, that does hit.
Cool, and as it hits, that'll be 4 piercing damage, but
Alright.
I'm going to use Psychic Blades as I hit. And
Ooh.
from the bagpipes as I hit, and I get to roll 5d6 psychic damage.
Oof. Okay, yeah, he will not be back at full health after this. I take that back.
You will. This is the ballad of your death. Ugh, 19 psychic damage.
Wow. Okay, so it was 19 psychic damage and it was 6 rapier damage?
4.
4. Okay, so total that was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonus action. I'm gonna give a D10 of Bardic Inspiration to Brooke-Lynnn.
Okay.
Just
Thanks.
that's it.
Okay. So yeah, he does heal on his turn, but he is not fully healed. It seems that psychic damage did in fact make an impact. So he is still feeling better, but not completely better. Now we're back up the top of Brooke-Lynnn, and they are no longer surprised. Andor looks terrible.
You can actually give under 8 health back. The radiant only happens on the first hit.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, that's my bad.
That makes a difference for him,
Oh,
kind of.
Mark's got under. Like, that's his
Mhm.
thing. He's got it.
You really do.
I'm gonna need Big Daddy Vamp to make a wisdom save for me, please.
Okay, a wisdom saving throw.
Against 3rd level Mind Spike.
Ooh, nice. Okay. No resistances to that. Oh boy, he rolled a 5 total.
Yeah, no, that doesn't beat a 15.
Nope.
So he's gonna take 5d8.
Okay.
Oh, 48. My bad.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
3. What's 3 plus 8? Is it 11?
Yes, it is 11.
Okay. 11, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 psychic damage.
Okay. Yeah, he is that seems to get through a little bit. He's like, yeah, you're whittling him down. He still looks mostly fine though. It's hard to tell, especially with psychic damage.
Haha, cool. And then bonus action. I'm gonna drop 3 sorcery points to summon a Hound of Ill Omen to also attack him.
Okay, so it's like shadows coalesce into the form of some kind of large hound.
That is
medium.
Cool.
Yeah.
Technically medium hound.
Yeah, okay. I meant large as in the sense of
Yeah.
like big, not in the sense of like size category, but thank you for the clarification.
Yes. Okay, so I gotta roll initiative for this boy. Gotta pull dire wolf stats.
Love shadows and sorcerers.
Hell yeah, dude. Alright, so initiative is 8 for my boy, who I got a name. His name is Bill. Bill Nye.
Okay. Bill. Sorry. What was the number he got?
8 for initiative.
8 for initiative. Okay,
Bill,
so he goes.
Bill.
All right. Bill goes between Ondor and the Night Lord. Okay, is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
All right, Mark, you're up.
Right, I'm gonna kill Ondor.
Yeah, you probably will.
All right, I'm gonna stay reckless.
Okay.
We're swanging.
Mm-hmm.
18.
Yep.
Dead.
Very likely.
Bye,
Okay.
Ondor. Oh, I can do something.
So 9 points of slashing damage
Okay.
and 9 points of radiant damage.
How would you like to end Ondor's life before he gets to take a single turn?
I just want to cut him in half. I just want to bisect the dude.
All right. So before, like, he's just manages to shake out of the surprise of you whacking him twice with an axe, like in half side, like this way or up and down.
Like lengthwise.
All right. You do go down to up or up or top to down.
Up, down.
Okay. So you go like you hit him like right in the neck and just go cleave all the way straight down him and just 2 halves just fall to either side.
When
Yeah.
Ondor dies, can I use my reaction to do something that I have?
I think so. If you are allowed to do that, then yes.
As a reaction, when a humanoid dies, I capture its shadow.
What the
Okay.
fuck?
Just siphon it in through my bagpipes. Just,
All right. Cool.
and I can use that. I can disguise myself as the dead person for 1 hour.
Wow. Okay.
It's a lot.
Wow.
What subclass of bard are you?
College of Whispers.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Mark, is that the end of your turn? Actually, no, you have a second attack.
I have a second attack, so I'm gonna get in the Null Lord's face about it.
Okay.
Take a good hit off Ondor.
Oh, God.
17 plus 8.
Yeah, that hits. This is what it's like DMing for a barbarian. I forgot.
Oh, it's so fun.
I am having a great time playing this barbarian.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Ash is back in Beneath the Tide.
Mm-hmm.
14 points of slashing damage.
Okay. And it's just the slashing damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be next round that I'll get
Radiant, right.
on him.
Okay. That'll make it Reed's turn.
Hello, I am Reed. I have absorbed the essence of your fallen friend, and now I will aid in your destruction. And I'm gonna look. Is there any way I can make a 15-foot cube? Oh, never mind. Anywhere I can move in this place where a 15-foot cube will not hit my friends? Because it originates from me.
Yeah, because you're all pretty much standing on one side of him. So yeah, if you got up like right next to him.
I'm gonna get right up next to him.
Okay.
and cast Thunder Wave at 5th level.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
All right. So it's
Just
a con save.
out of my bagpipes, a big, just like cacophonous, just tremble. Yes, con.
All right. Con save. Let's see how he do. Wow, he's rolling great. He got a 6.
That fails, so he takes 6d8 thunder damage.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a much more important part of that spell that happens.
20. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
No, that's gonna be good. Well, kinda. You'll see.
23 thunder damage.
Okay.
And is pushed 10 feet away from me.
Is it only 10 feet, or does that go up for the
Just it's 10 feet.
Okay.
In addition, unsecured objects that are completely within the area of effect are automatically pushed 10 feet away from me, and the spell emits a thunderous boom audible out to 300 feet.
Yep. Boom. So you send him flying backwards.
I forgot what that does.
No, he stepped up for. Okay, so he gets knocked back like to the edge of the tent. He doesn't get knocked out of the like through the wall of the tent, but he's like backed up against the fabric behind him, but he's still inside of it.
Yeah.
And you can hear sounds from outside.
Bonus action, Bardic Inspiration to Mark. D10.
Okay, that'll bring us to the Night Lord, who will immediately heal by 20.
Yeah.
And he is going to, man, who does he hate the most right now? Yeah, he's going to go for the scientist, actually. Yeah, he sees what's going on here. So
science rules.
So he takes his claws and they like extend out further, and he turns around to like one of the, cause it's like a central tent pole, but it's like other larger tent poles that come out like ribs out like circular to hold everything up. And he turns around to one of the ones near him and like sinks his claws into it and just like climbs up at an angle and then drops down right behind Brooke-Lynnn, and is going to start with a claw attack.
How about like nodded? Can I just be like, no, you?
Does 19 hit?
Yeah.
Okay, so he hits with the 19. He chooses not to do damage and will instead grapple you. And then while you're grappled, second claw attack. Does a 12 hit?
Yeah.
Oh boy, okay.
Sorcerer.
Yeah.
A squishy caster.
Yeah, that's why he's going for you. That is 9 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
You're fine.
Not that bad.
Third attack is a bite.
Tank. I'm the tank.
You are now vampire.
Oh, that'd be fucking sick, dude.
Does a 16? Oh yeah, that's a 16 hits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Does
so
a
that
35 hit?
No.
There are additions where the answer to that is no. That's 9 points of piercing damage and 6 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
Your maximum hit points are reduced by 6.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And he heals by that amount also.
What a bitch.
As he like grabs onto you, slashes at you, and then pulls you in, and just like, it's not like a vampire where it's like, you know, the two nice, neat, like 2 pinpricks into the neck. He's got this giant hyena mouth that basically like goes for your neck, but basically like the teeth are like at your collarbone and shoulder blade is like how much of your shoulder and neck region he just like gets in his mouth and then just like drinks some of your blood.
Man, no vampires. Such a cool idea.
Bitch.
What a sloppy lover. This is not what I like.
And that brings it to Bill Nye's turn.
Bill Nye's going to do a heckin' chomp.
Okay, so Bill Nye comes up and is going to chomp. Go ahead and roll it.
Yeah.
Leave it advantage. Does Bill Nye have all of the traits of a direwolf?
The hound uses the direwolf statistics with the following changes. The hound is medium, not large, counts as a monstrosity, not a beast.
Yeah.
It appears with a number of temporary hit points equal to half your sorcerer level, which is 5. It can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain.
That's cool.
At the start of its turn, the hound automatically knows its target's location. If the target was hidden, it is no longer hidden. It can only move towards its target by the most direct route, and it can only use its action to attack it.
Okay, so then it still has pack tactics then.
Yes.
So it'll have advantage on its attacks.
Man, I almost did a Shadow Sorcerer too.
They're really cool.
So to hit is a 14 on the dice plus 5 to hit, which is a 19 to hit.
That does hit.
And 2d6 plus 3. 1 plus 6 plus 3, so 10 piercing damage.
Okay. I forgot to. I've been forgetting to do this, but I'll start it now. That piercing damage, that non-magical piercing damage. Oh wait, no, this would be or do its attacks count as a magical weapon? It would say.
It does not say.
Then so it is non-magical piercing damage. Therefore, it does not do quite as much damage as it should have.
Cool. Well, he's still the chomp.
Yep.
Is it a creature?
Yeah.
Is Vamp Daddy creature? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I need a strength saving throw. Or be
All
knocked
right.
prone.
Wow, he cannot roll saving throws to save his life. That is.
And he would have disadvantage. Never mind. Because it's against spells I cast. Never mind. Not on that.
Yeah, 6.
He is knocked prone.
Okay.
By Bill Nye.
Would you go with? I suppose no. You're still standing, but like he's like on the ground, still grappling you. All right.
I miss Ondur.
He's Mark didn't.
He's in my bagpipes now.
Yeah. Okay. They need to turn, or at the end of Bill Nye's turn.
Yeah. I guess you could say Mark really hit his mark, you know?
Oh boy, no.
Nice.
Okay. At the end of the turn order, 2 hobgoblins enter into the tent,
Yep.
looking around, seeing what's happening, and they draw their weapons. But that's all they're going to do on their turn.
They're just
Bring us back at the top of the order with Brooke-Lynnn.
I am so sorry.
Alright. So he's on the ground.
Yep.
I'm not.
Correct.
I'm going to need him to make another wisdom saving throw
Okay.
against another 3rd level mind spike.
This one is a 21. Oh wait, but he has disadvantage, right?
He has disadvantage because
Okay, that's
of Bill Nye.
21 or a 17.
They still pass.
Okay.
Or half as much damage on a successful save. So
Okay.
Just like real
he
life.
is going to take 6, 11, 17, 24. So half of 24, 12.
Wow, nice. Okay. That hurts. All right. Anything else on your turn? He does still have you grappled.
Nah.
All right. Still hanging on you. That brings us to Mark.
Great. I'm gonna like run over to them and just like jump and bring my axe down on the Knoll Lord.
All right. Roll it.
This is not gonna be reckless because he's prone.
Okay. Yeah. It's an advantage.
Oh, thank God. 19.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Okay, dope. So 18 points of slashing damage.
Oof. So the 18 is halved because it is
Okay.
non-magical.
But 9 points of radiant damage.
Okay. The radiant damage as your axe like glows with burning radiant light and cuts into him. This is the first time you get like a pained reaction out of it as he howls angrily, and you can still see like the edges of the wound that you leave like glowing slightly. And even before, like every wound you made like started to heal up very slowly immediately. This one does not.
Nice. And then just gonna like pull my axe out and dive at it again.
Okay.
Yeah, like 27.
Oh yeah.
Another 18 points of slashing damage.
All right, so 9. He's feeling great. Or no, he's not. All right. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. On his turn, he does not heal 20 HP because he took radiant damage this turn. So his fast
Got it.
healing, his regeneration, is in fact halted for the round.
Excellent.
So
Son of a bitch.
he is going to let go of he's going to let go of Brooke-Lynnn and he's going to attack Mark,
Fair.
the one that's stopping his healing. Or he's going to stand up first, then he's going to attack Mark. So claw attack is a 9.
Doesn't hit.
So you just dodge out of the way. Second attack is another 9. Good
No,
grief.
thank you, sir.
Change dice. And he cannot target you with the bite because you're not grappled.
Ha 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 ha.
So that is his turn. You just whiff, and then Mark is just like, what? All right. That'll bring us Bill Nye's turn.
Bill Nye.
Sorry. Did I skip Reed again?
Yep.
Sorry,
right.
It is Reed's turn. I need to
Don't let Reed go.
highlight Reed. There we go.
Okay, so does Reed go before the vampire or after?
Yes, Reed goes before him. I keep forgetting.
So he's still prone?
Yes, you should still be prone on your turn.
Okay, so instead, to make sure we still get some fun shenanigans with this,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to make a dexterity saving throw as I cast Fairy Fire.
Okay, disadvantage on that. Does prone give disadvantage on dex saves?
I don't remember. Let me check for you. Got my DM screen right here. It tells me all the
Oh,
conditions.
nice. I love those. Mostly because of the conditions.
It does not.
Nope, no disadvantage.
All right, so regular old dex save.
Yeah.
All right. That is a 17.
17 succeeds, so he is not affected by Fairy Fire.
Okay.
So it's bonus action then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look back at the hobgoblins that just came in
Mm-hmm.
and use telekinetic mage hand. And hold on, actually. I don't know if mage hand has to be out to do that. I would have to create mage hand to do that. But you can push people with mage hand if you have telekinetic mage hand as a feat.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a UA feat. Okay. Instead, as a bonus action, I'm gonna sit here and suck my thumb.
Okay. Then that makes it the Night Lord's turn. He does his thing. He stands up and he whiffs twice. Bill Nye's turn.
Bill Nye has one purpose in this world, and it is to heckin' chomp Big Daddy Vamp.
All right, roll it.
So he gonna do that.
With advantage because you and Mark are still adjacent.
Oogie doogie. So that is a 19 to hit.
That does hit.
4, 2, 8 plus 3 is 11 piercing damage.
So 5.
And a strength saving throw or be
Yes, sir.
knocked prone again.
This time he gets a 19.
Yeah, he's good. He still stands.
All right, still standing up. All right, now we come to the hobgoblins. The two just regular hobgoblins that came in are going to both run at Reed and attack with their long swords.
Yeah.
All right. So first one gets a 6.
Nope.
Second one gets a 16.
Yep.
All right. And it is going to use, because it has an ally also adjacent to you, it's going to use its martial advantage and do 2d6 extra damage.
Makes sense.
So that is 7, 10 plus 1. Or no, yeah. 10 plus 1 is 11 points of slashing damage.
Cool, bring it.
As it comes up to you and just swipes you with that longsword.
Bring it.
All right.
I am Reed.
And that will bring us back up to Brooke-Lynnn.
Whoa. How's Big Daddy Vamp looking?
Not great, really.
Not great, really. That's
Mhm.
that's real good. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's time for some fire, bitch. Let's give them a scorching ray. All 3 of them.
Okay, roll the attack rolls.
Oh no, it would be 5 because I'm doing this at 4th.
Roll all of those attack rolls.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Sorry.
And so, first one is a 10 to hit.
Nope. Dodges that one.
Nope. 15 plus 7.
That one hits. So he dodges the first one, gets hit by the second one.
That slaps.
18 plus 7.
Definitely hits. So 2 hits.
15 plus 7.
3 hits.
12 plus 7.
4 hits.
All right, so I rolled 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so each of those is 2d6. So then it's
8d6 damage.
8d6 damage. I'm going to roll that in the chat because
Okay.
I can't count that high.
Like dodges the first one, gets cocky, and then 4 of them just run into him.
8d6. Wow. But it's fire damage.
It is.
And I have Elemental Adept for fire.
Oh.
So any of the ones are counted as a 2.
Okay.
So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, plus 5, which is 21.
21. Okay. Yeah,
So
he is
21.
not looking good after that, as all 4 of those firebolts smash into him. And he is like smoldering in place, and his wounds aren't really closing up at the moment. It looks like they're starting to. He has not taken radiant damage yet this turn.
Right.
But it's coming, and it comes back around to. Or is there anything you'd like to do with your bonus action or movement?
We're just gonna give him the finger.
All right, Mark, you're up.
I'm gonna hit the bitch.
Reckless or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back into reckless now.
Okay.
18.
Yes, that does hit.
Okay. So 18 slashing.
Okay, so 9.
And then 9 radiant.
Mark, how would you like to finish off the Vampire Knoll Night Lord Siege Commander?
So I just want to like hit him like with my axe, just like really good in the gut, like
Mhm.
kind of like lift him off the ground with the impact a bit, and then just kind of like lean in real close to his face and just kind of like do like the creepiest giggle possible, just like a and then just like pull my axe out and like that was only my first attack, yeah?
Yep.
I'm going after a hobgoblin.
All right. So you drive your axe into him. He falls to the ground. As he like hits the ground, he just dissolves into dust.
And so does Bill Nye.
Oh, that's right, because that was his target. Yeah. Well, it just sinks back into the ground. It just returns to your shadow.
Pretty dope.
I always kind of imagined as the Beast of Ill Omen was like your shadow, like detaches from you, like that one guy from Danny Phantom, and like goes and attacks people.
Sam, clarification.
Yeah.
Just so I know what to do on my turn when it comes up.
Right.
Dust or mist?
Dust.
Okay.
Does not turn to mist.
Okay.
Not a full vampire, a vampire spawn.
Ah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll go smack a little hobby gobby.
All right. There's 2 of them.
I'm gonna hit the one that like actually managed to connect with Reed.
Okay.
How do you feel about 16 plus 8?
Yeah, that hits.
13 points of slashing damage.
All right, and you just like kill the vampire, rush over, and then just like with your movement, like with using the momentum from your movement, just decapitate this hobgoblin.
I fucking love being a barbarian.
Yeah, it's fun, right? All right, that is Mark's turn. That'll bring us to Reed.
Reed will sigh, look at the other hobgoblin, and just say, and now, that's Hannibal voice, and now is the ballad of your death. And I'm gonna cast Dissonant Whispers at 4th level, so wisdom saving throw.
Oh my god, I love that spell.
And these whispers just come out of the bagpipe like,
How's a 5?
oh, that failed. Let's roll some damage. 22 psychic damage.
Dead. So like he's just like his like eyes start like rolling back into his head, and blood just starts coming out of his eyes, nose, and ears. Then he just falls over dead.
Can I have his head explode? Like a little.
Sure. Actually, that is because that is actually an effect of Psychic Scream. I will say that it does not explode. You'll have to smash it yourself.
Oh. Okay, whatever. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm chaotic, but not psychotic.
Yeah. That would have an effect on technically that would have an effect on resurrection for other things, so gotta be careful. But yes, you could his bleeds out from all of his facial head orifices and dies.
That is the ballad of your death.
Leaving you all alone in the tent for right now. You can definitely hear commotion outside, and there is more movement coming, but
bonus action, I'm going to use the shadows in my bagpipe and take the disguise of Ondur.
Okay, so you just shadows just come out of all the pipes like smoke and then cling onto the outside of Reed, and suddenly Ondur is standing right there.
Dope.
How did he
Where do we
talk?
go from here?
We go back to the... Well, where is our friend that was going to help us?
Layla?
Yeah. She's probably just like vibing or whatever.
Do we have to bring back like proof that we killed the commander to the princess?
Probably.
Brooklyn's gonna scoop up some of the dust.
All right.
Just like,
Maybe some of Ondur as well.
do you think she'd want a heart? Like,
Okay.
I totally get a.
Yeah.
Is Ondur's body still there?
That just takes a shadow, right?
Yeah, I just take the shadow, not the body itself.
So there's a dead Ondur and a live Ondur right now.
I have a plan for this.
But can I like just like cut his heart out real quick?
You hear commotion and movement approaching very quickly. You don't have a lot of time right now.
I'm gonna cut his heart out.
Okay, so you just carve his heart. It's really easy actually because he was cut in half, so like it's just kind of right there.
Yeah, just
You just
put the gloves on
snip.
first. Gloves on
Yep.
first.
Gloves on, snip, 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 and then pull his heart out. Yep. All right, what are y'all doing?
I'm getting ready to hit things with my axe again.
Okay.
We go to where we need to go. I can hopefully distract them while you two get away. The back of the tent, and I'm gonna walk over to the back of the tent and take my rapier and just go.
Okay, so you just cut a hole in the back of the tent.
Yes.
All right.
Go
Okay.
now.
Oh. Okay, let's go.
I will distract them.
All right.
If I die, it has not been nice knowing you.
Likewise.
Cool.
Let's go.
All right.
Mark. Who's running with the heart? Like,
All right. So yeah, head out the back of the tent. All right. So Ondur, several hobgoblins come in. They're like, "What the hell happened in here?"
Hello.
What happened?
People came into the tent. As you can see, one of them was disguised as myself, and they point to Ondur's body on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They were dispatched with ease. However, they did take out our commander and fled through the back of the tent. I don't know where they went out of the back of the tent, but I swear I heard them running in the direction of the building we commanded them earlier to destroy and kill everyone. They ran off in that direction.
Make me a deception check.
Ooh, fuck. Do I get an advantage if I have his face?
It makes it possible if you have his face.
Let me just look at the features of what this...
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
thing-
that's right. If the class feature says something specific.
I'm just
then-
checking. While
Yeah.
disguised, you gain enough information to pass yourself off as this person.
Yeah.
And my deception check gains a +5 while in this form. So my
Okay.
deception right now is a +12. It'll be a +17.
17. Well, roll that and have fun.
I'm not good at math, so actually, I don't need to do the math. That's 28.
Yeah, they're like, all right, yes, sir. And they do not question anything you said, and they go off in the direction looking for the 2 murderers and do not question you at all.
And remember, the building that they burned down.
Yes, sir. And they run out. What are you doing?
I go to the back of the tent and try to find the other 2.
Okay. As you're all running out, you manage to get this is pretty much the back of the siege camp too, so you just running out the back end of it, you don't have to make it very far, and there's enough confusion that you can get away. And you see Layla coming out of some of the what's left of the scrub in the farm fields nearby. She's just arriving. It looks like she was gonna be, if the fight had taken longer, if you had taken longer, she would have arrived and helped, but you killed him really quick, so she did not have a chance to join in.
I am not Ondor.
But she sees you all running, and she just gets back to the field and starts gesturing this way, this way, this way.
Kirkland's just running with the heart
All right, so you can make your way into you make your way into the fields. And she's like, "What happened? Is it over?"
Yes.
Yeah, we killed him.
Thank you so much. All right. With all of that taken care of and enough commotion, I think I can make it back inside the castle. I'll do my best to organize a skirmish, an attack, a distraction, something. You've done so much for us. I will do my best to make sure that you can retreat unbothered.
Excellent.
Do you want proof that we killed him?
I'm going to have to trust you, but the
And,
person...
I have his ashes, and I have Ondor's heart, so
I'm sure the Silver Princess will appreciate that as proof.
I had my disguise as
Okay.
Ondor. Bonus
Right.
action.
Okay. All right. I'll go coordinate a distraction. You get out of here. Thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right.
Fuck, that guy told us to bring back the horses.
Where would the horses be?
They're at the village before
Yeah, they're back at the village. Yeah, they're back at the village.
So we
You grab 'em on
can't
your way.
really go back there. Because
Yeah,
aren't they
how
looking
fast-
for
What
us?
but would you travel faster than the news of the fact that they're looking for you?
I mean, I have a 40-foot walking speed, so
30.
You just book it.
just full barbarian hoofing it,
Yeah. All right.
Kirkland's behind
So we come to the end of our adventure. Y'all hoof it back to the village. Mark manages to grab the horses before anyone notices that you're supposed to not be there. Grabs them. You manage to all ride off. Reed continuously casting Phantom Steed
I
again.
don't have enough spell slots to keep that.
Reed
up.
walking along behind as you go, and it takes a better part of the day, but eventually you make it back to the Citadel of the Silver Princess. You inform them that you completed the job. You show them the proof, and
There you go. Yeah.
they appreciate the job well done. And all of you are told that you are welcome anytime to assist with anything. They have plenty more jobs for you, and they do not see this war ending anytime soon. So there will probably be plenty of continued work. And that is where this little solo adventure history lesson will end.
Yay.
So thank you for joining us.
Fun.
Glad you enjoyed it. That went much more non-violently than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. Well done. Surprised me a few places.
Oh man, I love Whisper Bard so much right now.
Uh-huh.
Did not expect those rolls to work.
Yeah,
But-
good.
28 deception. That felt
Yeah,
great.
it was incredible. Yeah.
Expertise in deception.
Mm-hmm. It's really useful.
I love expertise so much.
Mm-hmm.
I just love being a sorcerer that doesn't believe in magic.
Yeah, that was really
Believes
great.
in
I thought you were
science.
I thought you were an alchemist at first when you were describing what you were. I was like, oh, science, you're an alchemist. You're just playing Hannibal basically. But no.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what I
no.
thought.
Yeah, that was really cool. All right. Thank you, audience, for joining us. We appreciate you coming and watching us as always. I believe next week we'll be back into the main campaign with Soldier of the Lich Queen as the party recovers from their time in the Bone Grinder, having gone back to the inn to take a nap, and then they are probably, I think, on their way to go take out some bandits.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
And Drew has a fire crown, everyone. I just
yeah.
it's important.
So thank you very much for joining us. Justin and I will be staying after for a bit to record our interview.
Mm-hmm.
It was lovely DMing for everybody, and thank you, and we'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
Fare thee well.
Bye.
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 Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, no.
dun, dun, dun.